Muscle cars and muscle SUVs that sport a V8 are becoming a thing of the past. Well, Dodge is here with one final statement. We've got the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 Alchemi Edition. This bad boy is boasting a V8 and much, much more. Is this the last muscle SUV that will ever take place, or is it the one that you should buy? Let's find out. Starting off in the front of this massive, powerful Dodge Durango, we do have quite a sporty look. You know, they're bringing the 392 feelings right into it because you've got hood scoops, hood vents, and of course the vinyl wrapping on it with the honeycomb pattern. And I just love the Destroyer gray paint color on it. But one thing I love even more is all the functionality you have in this front end. All these vents that you see are functional, as well as the entire grille and the lip. Just magic, bringing all the air you can into this big, powerful engine so that you can run longer and harder. But we do have some very nice looking headlights. We got daytime running lights at the top and bottom, as well as our dual LED projector beams. Look pretty nice. Then we also have an SRT badge here on the left-hand side of the grille. Nice and blacked out for some style. But overall though, you do have some parking sensors on the front. Not too much going on. I just love all the functionality that they're putting on this Durango. Nothing bothers me more than seeing fake vents everywhere. But if we wrap around to the side, it does get a little bit better even. We've got the Destroyer gray fenders that are going on there, as well as our nice and beefy 20-inch SRT wheels. But hidden behind those wheels are a massive Brembo brake caliper, and it's in that yellow color just to match the more of the car. Overall, the wheels look fantastic. I really like the blacked out wheels. And you know, I've never been a big fan of yellow, but it's growing on me. Not sure about this yellow vinyl 392 sticker, but you gotta let everybody know that you're rocking the Hemi anyways, right? But as we move a little bit further back, we do have some decently sized side view mirrors, and they are in piano black on the top and then just black plastic at the bottom. We have some lane departure warning, and we've also got blind spot monitoring on the mirrors themselves, and no cameras on it, so you're not going to be looking out that way. Moving back further, we do have paint to match door handles, but they do have some other things going on. If you press this button here, it will actually lock the vehicle, but it's got heat sensing on the door handles themselves, so if you touch the door handle, it will automatically unlock if you have the keys in your pocket. That's pretty neat. On the roof though, we do have some very nice roof rails. They're not quite as easy as Subaru's, but they are pretty easy nonetheless. I love the built-in roof rails, and I especially love the simplicity that these ones have. But what's really nice is the rear lights that wrap all the way from the side, all the way across and onto the other side. And they just look very nice as well. I love the red glow on them. We're out here during the day and this red is just beaming. But on the back half of the car here, we will see more of that honeycomb vinyl wrapping that is running through the center of the vehicle, both on the front and the rear. We do have some more parking sensors, another SRT badge, a Dodge badge, and our Durango badge. And then of course we've got our Alchemi badge because, you know, there's not going to be many rocking that one. Aside from that though, we do have a nice little spoiler to bring more of that sporty vibe home with us. And then our rear window wiper located at the bottom because they don't want to tuck it up and hide it. But what's nice is we do have dual exhaust tips. They both are functional, and also hidden behind this plastic, we've got a built-in trailer hitch because this baby can pull a lot of weight. Now this is a 3-row SUV, so there is a little bit of space behind the third row, but we do have an electronic lift gate. As you can see, we do have a little bit of storage here, enough for groceries or whatever, but if you're going on a long trip or if you're going to the airport, you obviously need more space than this for your 7 passengers and all of their luggage. But we can go ahead and fold these down, and they do fold nice and flat on both sides, and you get a lot more room to work with just by doing that. Aside from that, Dodge did give us an eggplant so that we can check out their safety, and you get a lot of storage under here. Inside of here, you've also got some roadside assistance stuff, and that's just a nice spot to be able to put things. We also do have some power options back here. We've got a 12-volt outlet on the right-hand side, and on the left-hand side, we've got another little cubby spot. But like I mentioned, one thing that we're really concerned about is, I know the Hemi's strong, but is the door too strong too? Let's find out. It's not too bad. Definitely have seen worse. It didn't do a whole lot of damage to that. It's definitely good for eating later. All right, well, that about wraps up the interior and rear end of the Dodge Durango 392. Let's hop into the inside and see where all the magic happens. Right away, you can see that we don't have a whole lot of contrast going on other than our white stitching here on the black leather arm pad. But what we do have is some forged carbon fiber pieces that are running throughout the vehicle. And also, as you'll notice, we do have a harming carding system in this 392, and it sounds pretty good, if I may say so myself. But we've got some piano black going around the door handle, a nice chrome door handle, and very standard functions on the door itself. We've got 2 memory functions for our seat, as well as our side view mirror controls, and 1 touch button operation for all 4 of our windows. And of course, you can lock and unlock the vehicle as well. Something else that is really nice that you don't typically see in SUVs is we've got some very sporty seats, and they're like a micro suede as well as leather on the sides. They look really nice, and shockingly, they're just as comfortable, but we'll talk more about that later. These seats also do have 14-way power adjustment, so that's very nice as well. And overall, they just look really clean with the white stitching and the yellow stitching parallel running with each other. I like them. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you think about these seats. Would you rather something fully leather and a little bit more cushiony, or do you like these sporty seats that we have in here? You can also see that we do have some very sporty pedals as well. I like the chrome pedals. They just feel nice. They look good. I like them a lot. Also, our chrome door sill plate. But aside from that, to keep going with all the sportiness that the 392 has, we have a very sporty steering wheel with a flat bottom, nice and thick. It's meaty, and it's just a pleasure to hold on to. Not to mention, it's also heated, so when it's cold outside like it is right now, I can just go like this and I feel a little bit better. But we do have some aluminum paddle shifters as well. On the left here, we can control all of our multimedia functions, our voice assistants, and these buttons specifically will also navigate our digital gauge cluster so that we can look at different information while we're driving on the road. And then on the right hand side, we do have our different driver's assistance features. Now, one thing that you can't actually see right now because it is bright out, but at night, the SRT logo does actually glow red, and that's pretty cool. But to the left of the steering wheel, we do have a vent, and then we've also got our controls for our headlights, as well as the brightness for our digital gauge cluster again. And lastly, this one does have a motorized telescoping and tilt function on it, so you can get even more adjustment out of it so that you're as comfortable as you possibly can be while you're driving. All right, now moving on beyond the steering wheel, like I said, we do have a 3-part digital gauge cluster and gauge cluster that's going on back there. On the left-hand side, we've got our speedometer. On the right-hand side, we've got our oil temperature as well as our gas gauge. And in the center, it's where we've got a digital gauge cluster. And this can actually go through different track apps, and it can also give you different information, whether it's your RPM or how power is being distributed. So there's all sorts of different options and track apps in the digital gauge cluster that you can go and switch through, and that's pretty cool. But to the right of the steering wheel, we do have our push to start button, but below there we've got our trailer brakes. This does have the built-in trailer brake option. That is an option, so you have to choose to get that. Moving on further, we've got a couple vents wrapped in piano black with our infotainment center. Now we do have a 10.1 inch infotainment center on here, and the options are crazy in here. You've got your different modes that you can drive in. So we've got track, auto, sport, snow, tow, and custom. And these are the different things it changes, whether it's your transmission, your paddle shifters, all-wheel drive, stability control, suspension, or steering. But there's even more in here. So you've got race options, you can do your launch control, you've also got shift lights you can set up at, and they'll go off at certain RPMs, however you wish to set those up. Aside from that, we've also got what the best part of this would possibly be, is the performance pages. So you're looking at different speeds that you've accomplished or times you've accomplished, your brake distances, you've got different gauges you can look at that are not necessarily in your digital gauge cluster. And then you've got a dyno and engine information. So you're looking at the power distribution, RPMs, when it's shifting, everything like that. And then we've got G-force and cornering, and also vehicle dynamics. So if you move the steering wheel, it tells you that you're moving the steering wheel. I guess that's pretty handy. But aside from that, we do have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay. Overall, it works very well, However, like when you're in media, for example, it will take sometimes quite a while to populate this stuff. I do like how the whole dash is wrapped in the black leather, and then it's also got the white stitching running throughout. We can also see some more of that forged carbon on the passenger sides of the dash. But below the infotainment center is where we have all of our heating and air controls, as well as physical knobs for our volume and our tuning. Works well enough. We've got heated and ventilated seats for both of the front passengers, as well as our heated steering wheel and all of your other controls. Now, the Dodge SRT does have 3 climate zones. So you've got your front, you've got your middle, you got your rear. That's awesome. But below there, we've got a wireless phone charger, a little cubby to put things, 2 Type-C USB ports, 2 Type-A USB ports, and an aux port. That's a lot of ports right there. And then again, this interior of the center console has more of that forged carbon in there, but I really do like the boot as well. On the gear shifter, we've got the yellow and white stitching on the black leather. It just looks nice and clean, but the gear shifter itself is a little bit unique. It's more of a classic style shifter, and it does feel nice in the hand. It feels really natural to use. I like it. And you can also move it over, go in manual mode, use the paddle shifters, or shift just with your gear shifter. Now, to the right of the gear shifter, we do have well-sized cup holders. They also do have some lights in there, so if it's nighttime, you can better see where you're putting your drink and you're not just fumbling around trying to... Actually, there are a lot of different lights in the car that you can see specifically at night. In the doors, we've got some lights on both sides. On the floors, we have some in here, like I said, the steering wheel. So there's various accent lighting. Now, behind the cup holders, we have a 2-part center console here, and the center console is actually nice and comfortable. It's not crazy padded, but it's not hard, that's for sure. But you've got a top section that you can open up here, and it's nice and felted, so you won't hear everything move around. And then we've got another section. It is relatively deep, and then it also has a 12-volt power outlet in there as well. So, and a nice little light, again, all wrapped in that felt, so you're not hearing everything crash around in there. I like to have storage options like that. It's nice and big. On the passenger side, there is still yet more power. We have another 12-volt power outlet right in front passenger, and then we've got an okay sized glove compartment. I definitely would have expected bigger in a large SUV like this, but that's what we get. Now, if we move up above the infotainment center, we've got a very large rear view mirror, auto dimming, SOS button, power and assist button. Shockingly, no digital rear view mirror. That surprised me, but it's a nice size, nice and clear, so no problem there. Then we've got a place to store our sunglasses. We've got some dome light controls, rear hatch button, and then the buttons for our sunroof, as well as 3 home link buttons. So overall, very functional, no problem. You can click the lights, you can hit the dome lights, whatever you want to do, just do it. Now for our sun visors themselves, there's nothing too crazy, but the lights themselves are built in on the mirror, like how we used to always see instead of seeing the light up here. One thing I will say though is all of the ceiling and everything on the pillars, it's all that micro suede. It feels really nice. The only downfall is if you sneeze in here, it's going to get disgusting. All right, now in the rear of the Dodge Durango 392, you're going to see a lot of the same. We've got sporty styles captain chairs in the back here. Our door basically matches the front. The exact same forged carbon fiber paneling on the door, same piano black, same chrome. It looks good. Why change it? But the seats themselves, also basically entirely the same, just a captain's chair instead of a sporty chair. Overall though, they're not quite as comfortable as the front, but they're doable. And they also do recline, of course, but not very far. I thought it would recline further. We've also got vents for both of our captain chairs, as well as 2 Type-C USB ports, a 115-volt outlet, and what's even better, these chairs are also heated. In between our 2 captain's chairs, we do have a couple cup holders, as well as some storage space, and yeah, it's functional, and you can put stuff there. Now, like I mentioned though, we do have tri-climate controls in this Durango 392. So right here in the center, we've got different options. We can change the temperature, the fan speed, or the direction of the air itself. As well as we've got our vents up here on the ceiling, some more dome lights that you can actually move around. And what's nice about these is they're in that yellow color, so they're a little bit safer at night than they typically are if they're the white light. All right, now let's move on to the third row. As we get tighter and smaller back here, you know, there is still plenty of room. I'm about 5'9", 5'10". I've got some decent headroom back here. I am substantially higher than I was in the second row or in the first row. My head is basically 2.5, 3 inches away from the ceiling, but it is nice and roomy back here, so no complaints there. We still get some dome lights, we've got some vents for our heat, and then just both sides have a cup holder. Surprisingly though, we don't have any power options back here, nowhere to plug in our stuff, and you're just kind of stuck back here twiddling your thumbs. But overall, it's not too bad. The seats don't recline, anything like that. How about instead though, we get this bad boy on the road and see what kind of power it has. All right, here we are in the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 Alchemi edition. And we're gonna test out the 0 to 60. We've got launch control enabled. We've got our race box set up so we get an accurate reading, and we're in track mode. So let's see how she does. Here we go. All right, we got 4.88 seconds on our 0 to 60 and 1.72 on our 0 to 30 with launch control active. Uncle Steve's gripping for dear life. I think that was a success. All right, now we're behind the wheel of the 2024 Dodge Durango SRT 392 Alchemi edition. And you know, this thing is a lot of fun to drive. I like SUVs, I like powerful SUVs, I love V8s, and this basically just has it all. It is pretty comfortable. You know, typically when you look at bucket seats like this or sporty style seats like this, you don't have comfort. It's not part of it. It's more of, you know, it fits that type of car, and it's what you need for that style of car too. But in this, they've made some sporty seats that are quite comfortable. Now, what's not all that comfortable, especially if you're in sport mode or track mode, the road is very unforgiving. Even on the most level of surfaces, you feel just about everything. So that is a thing. But if you put it in auto mode, it dampens up quite a lot and you feel much, much less. But one thing is for certain, it is extremely quiet in this cabin. You're not getting any wind noise, and if you're in auto mode instead of sport or track mode, you're not really getting any road noise either, and you're not feeling much. So what you're really hearing is the tuned exhaust and the V8 power. So that's all pretty good, I would say. What else is good too is the steering, especially for having a V8 on top of this front axle. You've got very accurate and nice steering. I love the steering on this. It's got a good amount of weight behind it. It points where you want it to point, and yeah, it works well. Aside from the steering though, one thing is obvious, the acceleration on this thing is a beast. So you're not going to have any problem merging into traffic. You're not going to have any problem keeping up with the person you're following. If anything, they should probably follow you. The braking in this is especially nice because you have the large Brembo brake pads and of course the large slotted rotor as well. So you're getting very good performance out of your brakes, out of your acceleration, just everything is tuned for performance, and I'll tell you what, it definitely shows. Visibility also is phenomenal in this because you have very large windows wrapping around the entirety of the upper half of the SUV, so you're just able to see out of everywhere, even with the very large A-pillars and a very raked windshield. I would say the visibility is still spot on. Now, one of the only changes in 2024 for the new Durango is pedestrian monitoring. So as far as safety features you're getting just about everything Dodge has to offer. And for the new Durango owners, that's what you're getting added on, pedestrian monitoring. So it's got a plethora of different safety features, and that's pretty great. Now, how I like to drive? Well, I want to go buy one. So I would say I like it a lot. I like how it handles, I like how it feels, I like how it sounds, I like how it looks. The only thing that I would possibly change is that I'm not a fan of yellow. So like I would probably change the yellow to like red or something like that, make it a little bit cooler in my opinion. But looks are subjective. Maybe you love yellow, it doesn't matter. Overall, I really like how the Durango looks, especially since it's going to be one of the last V8 Durangos available to get. It does seem like a good one to get, in my opinion. I really like it. But what I really want to know when it comes to this Durango SRT, especially because it has all the performance it does, is I want to know what Uncle Steve has to say about the powertrain and all the other performance parts that happen to be on this Dodge Durango. And of course, I want to know how much he loves the ride, because it's a pretty sweet ride, and I know Steve likes power, so I'm sure he's going to love it. Let's get him in the driver's seat.
So it's time for Uncle Steve to talk about the powertrain. I'm so excited driving this American Muscle V8 SUV. At first, I'm really disappointed for Dodge. They say they stopped making the V8. It's kind of sad.
It is kind of sad.
You know, I love the American V8, but today I have an opportunity to drive one. How often do you see an Asian dude driving an American V8? And yeah, Uncle Steve have an opportunity today. So for the Durango lineup, they have 4 different powertrains. For this special model Alchemi, it has a 6.4 liter V8, which is 392 cubic inch. That's why they have a sticker over there, 392, or some people call it 392. It has 475 horsepower and 470 foot-pound of torque. It has 5 more horsepower than the Jeep Wrangler 392. 0 to 60 in 4.4 seconds, and we did 4.8. That's very close.
That is very close. And actually, that's the new top speed for this specific one too, because they store the top speeds that it's done, and the top speed currently was 4.9. So we also got it even faster.
That's why I like big American muscle car, you know. Even with my big butt, I can still pull 4.8, you know.
And speaking of speed, now you can test how it is on
the highway, yeah. Well, I'm sure it has no problem working on the highway, you know. But I want to know how is the wind noise or how is the road noise on the highway. Yeah. Oh, damn. It's too fast going to a curve. So overall, it's great. Handling is smooth. Let me try the track mode on the highway.
You instantly feel more.
Yeah, the steering instantly feel tighter, and I can feel the bump. Let me put a snow mode. How about towing? All right, go back to auto. Yeah, I feel the big difference. It's like auto is kind of for grandma, you know.
Yeah, that's for when you let
auto for Uncle Steve, and the track is for nephew Josh.
And if you want performance like this, I'm not gonna lie, Uncle Steve, you're gonna pay for it.
Damn.
So
I don't want to hear that.
The Durango SRT 392, the entry level trim starts at $76,590. Okay, but we're driving the highest level trim for today. So then you got the SRT 392 Plus, which is $82,590. Then you go on to the premium, $87,795. But if you want the Alchemi, you know, the big boy, the Mac Daddy with all the options, all the power, all the performance, you're going to be shelling out $91,390.
What about I want more horsepower?
Well, you know, they do have this other Mystique model called the Hellcat. I believe that one's more around like 109 or so.
Jesus.
I don't have it specifically pulled up, but I did look at it, so.
But it's still convincing, you know, over like you talk to, if you have family, I would think it's perfect for a family guy that convince the wife to buy an SUV instead of a sport car, you know, or a sedan, or like the Charger Hellcat.
Yeah.
You know.
Because you can actually fit the family.
Yeah, and they would not complain about it, you know. It looked pretty normal from outside if people don't know much about like performance car. So if you're a family guy, it's a good option for them to just having their fun toys while they're taking care of the family.
You are going to drop off the kids at soccer practice faster than ever before.
What about I want to tow something?
Well, you've got those options too. So if you want to go camping and you have a big RV, it's totally in the cards to take this and do that, because you can tow 8,700 pounds with this.
So you can tow an RV?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so for the fuel economy, for this bad boy, is 15 miles per gallon combined. Actually, it's not too bad compared to my Land Cruiser.
I was gonna say that's still technically I get more on my daily driver.
But it requires premium gas.
I do require premium.
Okay, so my Land Cruiser 11 miles per gallon with regular gas, and it still kind of hurt my pocket.
Yeah, I get like 13 with premium.
Oh jeez. Oh, and one more thing we can convince my wife is this is all-wheel drive. If you put it in the track mode, it's 30% in the front, pushing power 30% in the front, and pushing power 70% in the back. So it's still a four-wheel drive, even in the track mode. Another thing I want to talk about is I love American car that put the engine side on their car, or like they just advertise the engine side. Like 392 is same thing as 6.4 liter, so it's 392 cubic inch and it's 6.4 liter. So back to the day, like maybe in the 60s, I guess, like they always describe the engine side in cubic inch.
Yeah.
I really like the American company carry over that, like kind of like a tradition or like culture to the new modern like muscle car.
Right.
And one sad thing about it, the Chrysler start making V8. I really disappointed. I really love like muscle car, like how they sound, how they drive, you know. But it seems like in the future they're not gonna have a lot of the V8 available.
Yeah, it seems like they're all going away.
And hopefully become a collectible, like the older muscle car.
Yeah.
They have carburetor and like big engine. Overall, I really like this car, but the price tag a little bit high. Maybe now you can pick it up with a big discount. I don't know, since the economy is not that good.
Yeah, they haven't been selling too well.
I know you love this car a lot. What do you think about the price tag?
It's definitely expensive. You know, me not having a family and kids and everything, I just have a wife, so I've got a little bit easier of an option here. I'd probably go with a sports car, but if I wanted an SUV, a performance SUV, and I was willing to shell out 90 stacks, sure, I'd hop in this. What they have to do though, all of you guys watching, if you have the ability or if you're on the lookout for a performance SUV, I know it's a pretty niche thing, but you should definitely find your local Dodge dealership and check this out. It is a sweet ride. You know, some things are a little bit dated. You can get better space in something like a Telluride, but if you don't need all of that, this is pretty awesome, especially if you want the performance aspect or if you live near a track and you want to hit the track. You should definitely do that. Let us know in the comments what you think of it when you do that, or even if you're not going to go check it out, what do you think of the Dodge Durango SRT Alchemi Edition? You know, it's pretty awesome in our opinion. So smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you on the next video.